I may consume. Let me begin, Mr. Speaker, by thanking Chairman Miller and Ranking Member McKeon for supporting this bill and for helping to bring it to the floor so quickly. I have been proud to be the primary sponsor of this bill, and I also want to thank Mr. McCotter of Michigan, who was the primary co-sponsor of the bill on the Republican side. The Family Medical Leave Act has been a great program for working families in this country since it was passed in 1993. No one can question the benefit it has provided for working women and men by being able to take time off from work to care for themselves or family members. The original intent of the law was to provide for 12 weeks of unpaid leave if an employee has worked 60% of a full-time schedule over the past year, which is about 1,250 hours. So, in order to qualify for FMLA coverage, an employee has to have logged in 1,250 hours over 12 months to be eligible. While 1,250 hours adequately reflects 60% of a full-time schedule for the vast majority of employees in this country, that equation does not work for flight attendants and pilots. Flight attendants and pilots work under the Railway Labor Act rather than the Fair Labor Standards Act, which covers most 9-to-5 workers. Time between flights, whether during the day or on overnights and layovers, is based on company scheduling requirements and needs, but does not count towards crew member time at work. Flight attendants and pilots can spend up to 4 to 5 days a week away from home and family due to the nature of their job. However, all of those hours will not count towards qualification. The courts have strictly interpreted the law and insisted that crew members must abide by the 1,250 hours for qualification, even though the intent of the law was 60% of a full-time schedule. Airline flight crews have been left out of what was intended to cover them. Therefore, a technical correction is needed to ensure that FMLA benefits are extended to these employees. This legislation seeks to clarify the intent of the law. This legislation simply states that an airline crew member will be eligible for FMLA benefits if they have been paid for or completed 60% of their company's monthly hour or trip guarantee and have worked 504 hours. This brings these transportation workers in line with the intent of the original legislation and as promised when the law was passed. Last month in our Education Committee, we heard from Jennifer Hunt, a flight attendant for U.S. Airways. Jennifer was denied FMLA coverage when she applied to take time off to care for her ill husband, an Iraq war vet. Jennifer, like many other flight attendants and pilots as well, unfortunately did not meet the hourly requirement. This bill corrects that oversight, and Mr. Speaker, I thank the Chairman for his support and for bringing this legislation to the floor, and I urge my colleagues to adopt this legislation.
Gentlewoman